One of the reasons that this house is so special is what's inside, this treasure. And the treasure is not protected by a serpent, the treasure is the serpent. Along with some other things, the history and some things, but architecturally, one thing that makes this house very special is the plasterwork. And this plasterwork concept was coming from the Palatine German region, so that was very much more of the German influence than the English influence. And so this room has the plaster ceilings of one of the ones in my sketch, and it's a symmetrical pattern around the whole ceiling. We lost part of the ceiling in 2006, and it was just due to the roof that was leaking. The roof water was getting in, the water from the roof was getting in, and it was just turning the whole earth and plaster back into mud, and we got a partial collapse here. This will get a restoration. We will fix this back up to get this used as for representing the original ceiling and do all the restoration to this. But the back room that we were in, someone asked if we're going to restore that ceiling. The answer is right now no, because we don't do anything that's conjectural. It has no basis to it, and we don't know what that ceiling was. So right now it's a really great opportunity to have that room as the autopsy. So when people are coming in, we can explain and show physically what all the layering system was, how they constructed this. So we did cross sections of the building, figuring out how everything worked, and it was fantastic, trying to figure out all of the framing for those floors and to try to analyze what the plaster ceilings were, because these were the plaster ceilings. And people were saying, that is amazing. This is the ceiling of this farmhouse. Down the hallway is the serpent. The serpent's head spirals up and aims at the front door. The 4 rooms presumably had some sort of decorative plasterwork, but you can see the room that's blank now is where the bathroom was put in. So the other rooms, though, have this Baroque patterning on it. Very simple, but very elegant. So you talk about Baroque. So in the 17th and 18th century in Europe, there was a style of Baroque, which is like a Renaissance style, breaking down some of the traditional classic rigidity. So you have a lot of things like ovals, undulating shapes, and things like that. So you're standing in the room that I mentioned has no ceiling anymore because it was obviously the bathroom. So this was another room probably modernized in around 1934, and they stripped out everything when they did that, which is unfortunate, but it gives us the chance to have this great architectural autopsy. So you look here, you can see the main timbers going through here, just like downstairs, immense hewn oak beams, really, really strong, spanning the entire distance of the building. Between that, there are little pockets in here, which you can see they're on both sides for people standing over there. So the slats went in here that made like a ladder, and then in between the ladder rungs, these twigs were woven in there going back and forth. So this is what built up the whole medieval wattle and daub system. On top of that, the earth and plaster got mounted, and then a finished plaster on top of that, which would have given you the finished coat of the wall. So it's kind of neat. This gives you the whole progression here of the plaster, how it was put on. And you can see how heavy these beams are too, because they're designed to hold the whole upstairs, hold the top of the floor, and also hold that massive amount of plaster that was on this. Because by the time you were done, you were talking about like maybe 5 inches of plaster or something like that when all said and done. And so one of the problems with earth and plaster is it's mud-based. So there wasn't a whole lot of lime or something. It's not like concrete where it actually cures. So mud-based plaster does not necessarily cure. If you get water into it, no matter how long, if it's been here for 200 years, that starts to turn back into mud. Right when you walk in the house, there's the head of the serpent looking at you, and it just tails its way all the way down to the back corridor to the stairwell. It's really funny because everybody has an opinion on the serpent, but I don't know if there actually is a direct iconographic meaning for the serpent beyond it fitting the hallway and being something that's really, really kind of intimidating or awe-inspiring. And this is the head of the serpent that's in the hallway. Is it Adam and Eve? Is it religious or something like that?
I don't know historically the significance of that. I'm told that it is architecturally extremely distinguished, and I certainly hope that it is preserved. And I think it is really the most outstanding architectural feature of that residence.